So, welcome everybody to this case on product market fit, and we are delighted to bring you Mr. Knnorish, the founder and the CEO of.
Hey,
And I'm sure that all of you are pretty excited and thrilled to know the growth story of Knnorish. And here we have the founder itself coming down and telling you the answers, the introspections, the reflections, what he had while he was building his startup from scratch. So here's the first question to you, Kannar. Edutech market has been an eyeball market for the Indian audiences for the last 4 or 5 years. I want to know your perspective, your opinion that how did you decide that edutech market is the market you wish to be in?
thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate your time, and I think for me the market question is a very personal and important question because we started building this much before the entire tailwinds and entire law about the market started picking up in the edtech sector, and much before the pandemic. The reason for us was plain and simple. We were doing consulting company, and we were consulting with large education institutes from around the world. Some of them would franchise, some of them would collaborate with Indian institutes to launch. And these were primarily brands from Britain, Europe, Middle East. And we could see at that time that the biggest gap that the sector had, because we could see it right from the owners of these institutions, the promoters down to the student. We would interact with the entire chain. We could see that there could be much better flow of information, much better coordination, much better transfer of knowledge. And when we expanded our company into consulting with Fortune 50 companies for technology launches, brand launches around the world, primarily Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Europe, we realized that the problem wasn't there only for the educational institutions. The distribution of knowledge and monetization of knowledge was a problem that could be solved with technology and with everything that was happening in technology in a good way. Udemy had picked up at that point, and they had a marketplace. It was one of the most popular platforms at that point of time. We figured that we didn't want to build another marketplace. We wanted to kind of enable individuals because that's where the maximum power was. And we wanted to let them build their own brands. So, pretty much like what Shopify was doing. The second biggest reason of choosing this domain was that this is a passion domain. I think anybody should try and start in a domain where they're passionate about, because ultimately after you do your 3 rounds of funding, you hit a certain mark, it becomes a lot of people and reporting and stuff. Unless you're excited about what the company is doing, you'll never actually even go and use your own product. And if you can't be a user of your own product, I don't think so it will be a fun business to be in. So biggest reason, I'm an avid reader. I read about 30 to 40 books a year. I'm doing about 10 to 20 online courses every year. So there couldn't be a better domain for me. I eat and breathe what Knnorish does and what it stands for.
All right, that is fantastic, right? Like when a startup becomes an extension of your personality, and your personality becomes an extension of your startup. Here we're trying to focus on the whole journey of your early days, right? You're pretty much post product market fit right now. You're into market expansion and market consolidation. But I want you to share with all the students over here that what, according to you, were the kind of fundamentals which you adopted at a very core level while you were building the MVP of Knnorish? Were there any fundamentals you reflected or you kept very close to you?
I mean, the fundamentals were user centricity, focus on what solves their problem. The language, the outlook, and the application should be super convenient. In fact, our mission is now concrete, and the mission that we have in the company is that we want to build the world's most convenient platform for distribution and monetization of knowledge.
Mhm.
And that, as soon as that becomes clear, everything's then starts taking good shape because you know what you're fighting for. When you talk about most convenient and when you talk about monetization and distribution of knowledge, those are the core focus areas. So you're constantly adapting, evolving based on what the consumer needs are. And you're also responding to market evolution, as in terms of what are the funnels that help people sell content, distribute content. And it's not just for individual content creators. We also have a lot of organizations and enterprises signing up on our platform because they like to use the platform to generate leads with the knowledge they are building, and they also like to build funnels. So User centricity, that's always the fundamental. You're not building for yourself, though the idea could start from that point. Because users, a lot of times, the second caveat to this and an interesting addition is that they always are not sure of what they want. Users don't know what the future would look like. So you have to have that vision that you're looking ahead in future, and you're bringing those features down for your audience, and you're letting them get a taste of them, and teaching them how they will be a part of this future.
Interesting, right? Over here, as these fundamentals of user centricity is where you put the whole foundation upon. I want to ask you a very particular moment in your growth journey. Is that, was there a moment where you told yourself, you gathered a team and told that, hey, you know what, guys, we have achieved the product market fit, right? Because it's kind of an important milestone for every startup entrepreneur to realize that what they have been building. And most of the times when you build something innovative, product market fit might not be seeming at the right time, at the right point, or from the right users, but you have been able to achieve that, right? So was there
It's
any
an
point?
interesting question because a lot of times what happens is that it's not always at the cutting edge of innovation. A lot of products are built because they feel something's not done right and they want to improve on it, like HubSpot. They were just building a CRM and basic features of CRM, right? But they saw the big problem that inbound marketing is a good, powerful piece. I mean, there's no rocket science there. They just built a better or a great CRM, but there are a lot of other players that offer almost all the exact same features. So what I'm trying to say is, how would you define if HubSpot had product market fit and they realized it because they were trying to improve on a use case that already was well adapted for and well defined? I think your growth, and as more and more people start using it and taking the benefit of the product, you realize that the changes and the innovations that you're trying to bring to the market are useful. So that would be the right word. I hear about product market fit, but we were not the first ones in the world to do a white labeled online academy platform. Let's be honest. But we saw the ones that were doing it. There were so many things that they weren't doing the way we thought could be done. We were trying to improve on that. So I think the product market fit was defined because it was inevitable that what was being adapted in the US and people launching their academies and online courses would eventually happen everywhere. Pandemic just accelerated that. So in my mind, I mean, there's no eureka moment. I don't think so. We fit into that category. Yeah, if you were trying to build, I don't know, maybe the world's first email, like Hotmail did. Anybody after Hotmail, I don't think so, was trying to achieve product market fit. They were trying to test their innovation and their adaptability of the platform. I think only they were the ones who were trying product market fit of a product called email.
Yeah.
Even Gmail wasn't trying to do that. I mean, they were just bringing adoption. So yeah, I know it's probably not what you thought the way it would be, but this I honestly believe in this. There are.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's product market fit need not always be on, as you said, the cutting edge of innovation where you've built something in your garage and then you sold to 4 people, the fifth person says yes, and that's like, hey, this is product market fit. But yeah, you observe the market very, very closely. You see that certain things are not done in the most optimal manner, and that's where you start picking up the
like Hotmail to Gmail, the
yeah.
best example. I mean, Hotmail introduced to the email category, and people started emailing, but then Gmail said tons of spam. I'm going to build better filters, unlimited space, but I don't think so they were looking for a product market fit, or maybe my definition of the product market fit pushes me to define it that way.
No, I agree, and I'm on the same plane with you when it comes to product market fit. And of course, innovation has its own saturation, right? Innovation is essentially looking at what you currently have and then think about doing it better. So yeah, great great answer. I think that's a very interesting and to a large extent right perspective to look at a PMF. I want to ask you one last question, right? And this is where I'm sure that a lot of students are going to get inspired by your vision. What is your big picture ambition for Knnorish? Where do you want Knnorish to reach in the next 3 years, 5 years?
So as I said, that one of the biggest factors here in the space is that people have a lot to learn in terms of making an academy happen, whether it's an enterprise or it's an individual If you really wanted to be successful, do large traffic and large monetization of knowledge. I see the vision to be that we become the most convenient platform to monetize and distribute knowledge. And by convenient, I mean you have all kinds of feature sets that you require. At the moment, it's super tough. If you try to use any other platform, you'll have to use one platform, do your emailing from SendGrid, MailChimp, use a Zapier in between. If you're trying to send WhatsApp messages to your students or to your funnel, you'll tie up with 3 more companies, use a Zapier to pass on the data. It's just super complicated. I believe it shouldn't be. So when we talk about convenience, we're talking about bringing everything inside one dashboard. That's one goal, and I think it's a super exciting journey because what we've set out to do is we are enabling people to launch their own businesses and scale them. So I see us powering 1 million businesses at some point of time. It's 5 years or maybe a little longer down the line. But if we have achieved that, I mean, the impact we would have would be tremendous because every entrepreneur will then be teaching, sharing knowledge. There'll be so much of monetization. There'll be so much of learning that gets distributed that way. So yeah, that's what we see.
I really admire that answer because you've given both like a qualitative one where you said that you want to make your platform more convenient, and I really like that attribute what you're attaching to the product which you're building, that you want to make it convenient for your users, and then the quantifiable one which is that you want to scale it to about 1 million entrepreneurs, mini entrepreneurs, which can use Knnorish to start sharing their knowledge and information. I just have one very quick small question. What is the inspiration behind the name Knnorish? Like, this is for me. I am always intrigued.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It makes a lot of sense now when we look back at it. Knowledge and nourishment, we combined 2 words, broke them down, and kind of combined them into 2. And we also wanted to make it sound like a verb, like, have you nourished your business yet? As in, have you used the knowledge within your organization to digitally generate leads, or have you started distributing your knowledge online? So that was the thought. We wanted a .com, wanted it to be different, so combined 2 words, then came to Knnorish.
That is great. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Kinnor, and thank you so much for taking off the time, especially when you have a bad throat and nose. But I'm pretty sure that what has been written on you, the answers what you've gotten, you have already nourished a lot of brains across the world.
So good to hear. I hope it's useful and helpful. But I mean, one last thing that I would like to leave with is a lot of people follow trends, crypto, NFTs, jump ships.
Yeah.
I think stick to the passion is a very important aspect of it, because at the end of the day, if you're in a domain where you're enjoying it, it's going to be far more impactful, and whatever you say and do will have much more meaning.
So stick to the passion. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much.